Hello everybody, I'm Amanda. Thanks for inviting me. I found this morning fascinating. We've been asked just to come and talk about the journey that we've been on. We've been on a little bit longer than Debbie. We've been on this journey for 3 years. And I think the fundamental thing to say is that journey never ends, is what I've learned, and it's still ongoing and it changes shape as we move forwards. So we came at it from quite a different angle, I have to say, from listening to some of the debates this morning. Our approach was less about we weren't making the revenue, we were highly performing, was less about that we weren't making the profit, the margin, we were very profitable, and dropping lots of money to the bottom line. It was more about a passion for what we do and the work and the clients we work with. And I think what we found was that the core element behind what we were trying to do on the journey was it started less with payment models, although it ended up in payment models, and was more about relevance and being really relevant and forward-thinking for our clients and helping take them forwards. So slightly different angle. So payment models came as a result of this, but it certainly didn't start in that place for us. And I guess sort of the starting point for us was when I first joined, we went round and we very sort of softly really went and spoke to a number of clients about what we do and where they value the input that we had as an agency. And that was absolutely fascinating. And I guess the key thing from our angle was that we'd probably become a little bit complacent. And that was the biggest eye-opener for us. We're an ideas and innovation company. We come at it ideas first. We innovate all the way. We actually don't care which channels those ideas get executed through. We tend to come at it digital first because we were a startup 19 years ago, and we still very much behave like a startup now. We're very entrepreneurial in spirit. So change is in our DNA. So that was an easy thing to do. But we had, at the beginning, we had an away day and we sat with the executive board members and really looked at our vision as an agency and our vision with our clients. And we're kind of, are we cutting the grade? And we're really hard on ourselves as a business. And I think Caroline was with us at that time and it was pretty painful. I've never seen so many grown men cry. It was an awful couple of days. I was glad to escape, I have to say, at the end of it, but it was hugely cathartic. And I think where we came out was, how could we let ourselves get to this place? We're not prepared to be here. We are better than that. Our clients are better than that. We all deserve more out of these relationships, and we want to do better work. So when we went back to our original vision and why the clients said they really wanted to work with AKQA as a business, it was about insanely great work every single day. Not a one-off, every single day. It was about fundamentally affecting customers' lives. So not wallpaper, really fundamentally doing things that change the things that customers do and the way that they behave. And it was about shifting the commercial needle. When I've spoken to people like this in the past, and I have spoken about this journey quite a lot, either individually or with agencies or with clients, that commercial needle piece was a real thing. We do not want to be a cost of doing business. We want to add value to our clients' businesses, and we take that piece really seriously. So in this away day, we then realised that actually we really needed to up our game. We really needed to change our business in terms of how we operated moving forwards. And actually, we really needed to change some of those clients that we were working with. So what we came back after the away day was we had a couple of sessions internally as an agency, and we reviewed what we did as a business. So we said, where are we generalist? So where are we doing what anybody else can do? Where are we specialist? So where are we using very specialist skills in terms of the work we're doing for our clients? Where are we experts? So where can nobody else touch us? And where are we partners? And you know, in that sort of true form, there weren't enough. And the expert box was pretty full. The partner box we found was way too empty for our liking, and we needed to fill that partner box. So really shift those client relationships forwards. We also then did exactly the same exercise, mapping our clients against that. And I think what we learned, and a lot of things that I've heard this morning, is that changing models, certainly in our agency, was a collaborative thing. It was us and our clients. And if our clients didn't have the same ambitions as us, if our clients didn't want long-term strategic relationships that really help drive their business forwards, then they weren't the right clients for us. And I think that was a really big step change in our mind, and it certainly was in lots of our clients' minds. So we went and had conversations with our clients, and some of them were up for it, and some of them weren't. And the ones who weren't, we exited those relationships. We did it in a really big grown-up way. We said, you know, our kind of visions aren't aligned. You can work with better agencies who are sort of clearly better at doing what you want them to achieve. We also then fundamentally went out and won quite a lot of new business. Now, any agency here knows that it costs more money to win new business than it does to keep the business you've got. So from a margin angle, that really was a big risk for the agency. And also, we didn't do that overlap thing where you exit your clients when you've won the new business. We went, we need a clean slate, we're off, we're on that dance floor, we want to dance, and these are the clients and the partners we want to do it with. So we kind of almost overnight sort of created roughly a new client base within the agency. We still had clients that had been there before, but they were only the ones who were up for the journey and had the ambition that was aligned with us. And then what we did is, like I said, partnerships for us. So when we sort of brought on board these new partners and clients, what we did was a very similar exercise to the one Debbie was talking about earlier. Whereas we used the Do Help Think framework, but actually we used it more as a road mapping experience with our clients in terms of what we do for them now, what they're asking the initial brief was, and also what they then wanted out of us as an agency moving forwards. And what we found was because we're digitally native, is that we had quite a good spread actually across all of those different areas in terms of what we were doing. And the clients were actually fundamentally saying to us as a business that what they wanted was people to really challenge them. They were going through a really difficult time. Everything's changing. The agency model is changing, the customer world is changing, and they don't know how to formulate budgets around that changing kind of environment, and they wanted agencies that could really help lead them through it. So essentially, with a lot of the new client relationships we took on board, we actually took 70% of our business was 3 years plus. So out of our new clients and our existing clients, we talked to them about needing 3 years at this in collaboration to be able to create the fundamental step change and add the value to their business that we were all talking about. We then had kind of 20% of our business where we said, actually, we'll take on one-off projects. So we really did take control of our own destiny at the time. So we'll take off one-off projects that we think can build to those 3-year relationships, and 10% just because it's cool shit and we really want to do it. So we kind of had that sort of balance in terms of moving forwards. And we really worked with those clients to make sure that, again, we were all on the same page. And I think it's interesting, I've heard skin in the game all the way through here. And I think one of the things about our business model when we come to talk about the business model piece is we do invest a lot. We do invest in our clients. We do joint ventures. We're not afraid to take risks as a business. And actually what we've seen from that less you've got to charge me for hours route is a much more open client relationship. Clients involving you in more of those C-suite conversations, involving you in how to add business value rather than necessarily putting you in a box, which I heard somebody say earlier about professional services, where you only get charged for the hours that you walk into the building. And I think that was a really big fundamental, like I say, step change for us. The internal one was a more interesting one. So actually as a business, again, we are pretty feisty about our clients. They sit at the heart of their business. Putting clients at your heart of your business is not new for us. That's how we grew up. That's how we operate as a business all the way through. But I think for us it was this relevance piece again, so really making sure that our propositions were relevant, that we were ahead of the curve for our clients and really adding this value for them. So the road mapping exercise that we went through internally first, which I was talking to Debbie earlier. We took our teams through it and we said to them, right, map out where you are with your client. Map out the work you want them to do, that you think you do currently, and map out the work that you think they want you to do, or where their business problems are, and how we as an agency can best help them moving forwards. That was a really sort of mental, I guess the biggest shock that we had then was how few people within the organisation were equipped for that. They'd roadmap clients before, they'd managed big clients, big client portfolios, but thinking in that way was quite a big step change. So that ended up being quite a training and mentoring environment for our own staff, and I think they found that liberating and exciting, and they learned a lot during that journey. We then took those same roadmaps into our clients, and Caroline and I sat in front of some of those clients, and what we found amazing was when we roadmapped with the clients and said, right, either this is a new relationship or let's reset and get this relationship onto a new level, the clients got the pen and they literally drew around the roadmap and said, this is where I need you, that's where I want you, this is my biggest pain point. How do I unlock budget from what I'm doing today to be able to invest in that tomorrow? So again, that real conversation step change really started to happen. And what comes with that within your teams is actually the absolute obsession. What we found with our teams was with the clients, they created this thing together, they were in it together, and by God, they were not going to lose on it. So they were like those joint teams and collaboration in terms of how they took it forwards. So what we did was we pivoted quite a lot. We had new clients, we had new ways of road mapping, we had new ways of selecting new business. Like I said, we would not go into a new business pitch unless we knew it was a 3-year plus relationship and those ambitions, and we sense checked them right at the beginning, those ambitions were aligned. If they weren't, and actually if we only found that as we went through the pitch process, we would pull out because we were so clear that that's what we needed to be successful for those clients and for us as a business moving forwards. We changed the structure of the agency, we changed the service lines, because again, like Debbie said, it was about what clients wanted to buy rather than what we wanted to sell. And actually, we changed our talent base in terms of mentoring them. Some people left because it wasn't the right environment for them, and we brought new talent in to help our clients. What we found in that think box that Debbie talked about earlier was actually what a lot of our clients were interested in was how do they transform as businesses, and how can agencies help them in that transformation. So we actually then ended up taking on people to help us with that. We didn't pretend we were experts. We took on people who were to help our clients navigate in that journey. So it was a big change. We literally, while the lights were on, we're running, we're making revenue and margin, we pivoted, changed and ran off. Hopefully the clients didn't notice too much. And it did change that conversation. So again, I heard something about procurement earlier. I think procurement have actually become our best friends. From my life in the agency 10, 15 years ago to where I am with procurement now is dramatically different. The debates we have with the procurement teams are about value, are about business value exchange, are about driving business forward, and are about rates. But because the conversation starts in the work and the destination, before it's about the rates, the conversation is very, very different. We change the conversation with the people that we have in organisation. Again, because it's much more about driving business value, we've got tentacles in way more areas of businesses for these key clients that we've got than we ever would have had before. And I guess the other thing is it changes who has the conversations within our own organisation. So we had a traditional kind of pyramid-shaped organisation. We had a few people at the top who were equipped to have these conversations. We couldn't spread the ground quick enough, and we couldn't deliver for our clients quick enough on that basis. So we kind of changed the structure of our organisation as well and equipped some of our senior stars to try and sort of help them have those conversations themselves and really up that game all the time. And I guess that conversation is about pushing, it's about challenging, it's about never being happy with where we are and always focusing on where we want our clients' business to be in the future, but collaboration helps with that one. And like I said, the value exchange is a really important one. So we've spent quite a lot of time. We have a team of data analysts, again, being digital helps with this, but whether we're doing creative campaigns or whether we're doing interface design or whether we're doing a consultancy piece in transformation as a business, the thing for us is where are we best adding value? We treat our clients' money like it's our own. If they give us budget because they want us to do something or they ask us to do something and we slip into a rut again, we refuse to do the work. And that's not us being arrogant, that's saying to the client, this is not right, it's going off track, we need to focus on this, these people are better to do that job, let us focus on the bits of that journey that we've agreed together. So fundamentally really pushing our clients and making sure that where they work with us as an agency, we're adding that value at every step of the way. That builds that respect, that builds that collaboration, and that builds that long-term partnership. I think one of my clients said to me the other day, they were organising a workshop with a big consultancy, and that big consultancy would charge £2,000 just to get out of bed and come in and run the workshop. Because of the type of model we've got, we were like, hey, we can't wait to get all over that. We'll run it for you. This is what we'll do. This is how we'll break it down. The client came to us and said that was a breath of fresh air. We weren't trying to win anything over it. It was just a completely different approach. And now we have all their workshops away from this consultancy, but actually we've now got a charging model that sits around those workshops. So again, it gave us that flexibility and it made the client feel more like it was about collaboration and less like they have to pay us just for kind of turning up at meetings, and it was more of that collaboration. The avoid the pollution bit is really important for us. So again, stick to what we're good at, stick to what only we can deliver, work with other people who are better at delivering other things than us. Be really, really single-minded and don't get distracted from the vision that we've set with that client right up front. And that sometimes makes us, from a client angle, quite challenging to work with, and certainly working for us, it makes it quite challenging as well. But I think you've got to keep that kind of vision and destination in terms of where you want to go. Defining the proposition is never done. So what we found was our clients, what they want from us is brilliance, like I said, every day, is to add value. So for us, it's about how do we become the most valuable partner they've got. And this is where we do get quite competitive with other agencies that work in this. So we work very collaboratively with them in an integrated agency set. But in our heads, we're constantly thinking, how do we become that client's most valuable partner? And that's the conversation we're having with procurement, and that's the conversation we're having with the marketing team as well. And we want that. We really want to force that needle and that dial with our clients. And they know it because it's an open discussion. So that's where some of our competitiveness comes from. But it really is, for us, about redefining the proposition all the time, all the way through. It's, like I said earlier, it's never a job that's done. And actually, it's about what does that it's sort of propositions designed with clients and for clients, rather than necessarily as an agency, what have we got to sell? And I guess the creative piece is what we talked about earlier quite a lot. For us, everything starts with a creative idea. Our creative idea is right at the heart of our business. Our tech team is marginally smaller than our creative team. They're the biggest parts of our organisation. And really defining how that creative idea adds value to our business and really helps drive it through was probably a big step change for us and for our creative team as well, who now look at spreadsheets, who now understand the value exchange and are themselves having different conversations with our clients. And I guess that brings us back to our business model. So we fundamentally, over the course of the last 3 years, have changed the business. And I guess what we've seen with that fundamental step change is increase in revenue, so we're still growing on the top line, increase in gross margin and increase in profit along the way. We're seeing much better client relationships that are much more enjoyable for the client and for us. We are very goal focused as an organisation, so we want impact, we want clients to want to work with us, and we want to know that we're getting closer to that destination, and this journey has been a really valuable part of that. We've got a very mixed model, as everybody's talked about earlier this morning. We have a fee-based, a rate card base that's based on hours or days, however we sell it. We're working on optimizing that, again, with clients and procurement teams. What tends to happen for us now, what we're finding is working, is sort of almost like flat rates for people, rather than, because what daunts clients is individual rate cards with kind of sort of specific amounts next to a person without a real idea of what value they're adding to their business. We do fixed fee, which everybody else does. We do payment by results. We do quite a lot of that as a business. And for us, a lot of that is hinged less around the technology piece for us, but around that creative idea. Because we often end up in the discussion is, how much do you believe in it? Will you put your house on that if you really believe in that idea? So we kind of work in that way as well. And then we also have joint ventures, which we do with clients and with other partners to be able to bring to the market. So it's a very balanced business model in terms of moving forwards. My best friends that I take to clients now are actually our finance team, and they have these debates with us and with procurement and when we're negotiating contracts. I think with such a flexible model and such a wide base of kind of, I guess, sort of revenue opportunities, the key thing for us is the contract. So we have to get the contract really signed up front with the client, really nailed down, so that we can pivot and be flexible from there. And we found that that's sort of our anchor, and that anchor gives us more flexibility in the framework as we move forwards. I'm rushing through this, sorry, because I know we're up against it in terms of time. But this forensic word has come up massively, and it is about measuring every single little thing we do. I'm working with a client today, actually, I'm going to a client after this, and their big thing is we're part of an integrated team, their budgets are under the cosh. What they want to understand is if they do this, TV, press, digital, social, whatever else they end up doing, is how is that driving their business forward? How is that affecting their purchase funnel? How do they know as a business that they are moving the dial? And we're working with their executive board to really clearly look at quite complex models. And this is brought with some of the talent that we've brought on board from the transformation team and some of our data scientists, is actually, and then we're working collaboratively with the media agencies to really bring this model together, to be able to measure things that we probably haven't been able to measure before, so that we can actually demonstrate return on investment for our client and success, whether that's brand measures or whether that's commercial measures. And I think that's a really important sort of differentiation to make in terms of that model. And I guess the thing to finish on is our journey hasn't finished. It is hard, bloody work. We have put our agency through the mill and back. It is really not easy. Our talent have loved it. And I think if you spoke to our clients, one of them was going to join me today, but she couldn't make it, unfortunately. I think our clients have really enjoyed it on the journey with us. For us now, I guess the next phase of our transformation is about reshaping our organisation. So we're not very big compared to some of you, but we're too big to be able to nimble and agile enough for our clients in the way we want to be. So actually what we've done with our agency is actually breaking it down into smaller units again, so our clients can feel special, so that they feel they're part of that core little startup that they were 19 years ago, so that they've got the ears of the people at a senior level and a junior level who are all conjoined working with them. So the next part, like I said, for us is actually breaking the agency down into those smaller pieces and trying to do that with the lights on. We will take a margin hit on that. We know that. We've only just started that journey at the beginning of this year. It has affected us at a margin and profit level. But again, we know through what we started 3 years ago that that will correct itself over time and that course will continue to grow. So yeah, it's change and change again. Thank you.